but at a new level with the private sector. We cannot actually accomplish this goal without being in partnership with the private sector and given their involvement in the private supply chain and travel network. Trade and security are not mutually exclusive. Not only are they not mutually exclusive, let alone antithetical to one another, but we at CBP increasingly believe that they are the same process, that in fact we cannot increase our security profile unless we expedite the 99.5% of trade and travel that is legitimate. That's the way in which we will actually reduce the size of the haystack. But this notion that we can have both economic security and competitiveness and a physical national security is a very important idea that I think we are leading at CBP, and we're building on a very distinguished foundation.
Our adversaries really don't care how they attack us, whether it's flying planes into buildings or blowing up subways or destroying our economy. If they force us to not strike the balance of security and the facilitation of legitimate trade and travel, they have won, and we just cannot tolerate that. CBP is responsible for all threats at our border.
Terrorism is a species of transnational crime, and when you see all of this in the context of transnationalism, you begin to understand why you have to see these as interrelated problems. Our primary obligation since 9/11 is to stop terrorist weapons and terrorists from coming into the nation. These are low probability but catastrophic consequence events that we have to avoid. We believe at CBP that by developing our capacity to intercept all kinds of transnational criminal activity, that we put ourselves into the best position to be able to deal with that low probability but catastrophic consequence. And we train to keep dangerous people and dangerous things away from the American homeland.
Much better progress has been made by the Calderon government against the cartels than I think is reported here in the United States or is known. I mean, they're really beginning to have some serious impact in terms of destabilizing and eroding the power and the influence and the grip that these cartels have had over the legitimate institutions of the Mexican government, in my opinion.
Well, just before you comment, I would like to say that we can't lose sight of the fact that the Border Patrol is fighting a vicious battle down there, as witnessed recently with the death of Agent Brian Terry. There's still a tremendous risk out there to the men and women, both between the ports and at the ports of entry. And I believe we've got to continue to find the resources and the tools to provide these men and women with the ability to not only protect this country, but protect themselves. And the cowardly assassination of the agents down there on the border is unacceptable.
To deny that spillover violence is taking place is not to deny that we have our incidents of violence that are caused by organized criminal activities based in Mexico. We do. The killing of Brian Terry, the shooting of rancher Robert Krentz in southeast Arizona. All of these events are elements of violence. But if we held Chicago or Detroit or Philadelphia or Phoenix to the standard of one criminal event, meaning that the city was out of control, we would hardly have a city that was not out of control in the United States. How can this be exploited? And I think this is part of the aftermath of 9/11, is this notion that our borders, the vulnerability we felt that day with regard to borders, is taken advantage of by those who would exploit fear. And to that, I would offer two bits of wisdom from our history. The first is, to quote Mark Twain again, is first let's get our facts straight and then you can distort them as much as you'd like. And the second, more soberly, is Franklin Roosevelt's reminder to us that the only thing the American people have to fear is fear itself.